Just making myself a baconic sandwich, as you do in the morning. Yeah, people are asking, what's a baconic sandwich? It's bacon! There we go, just put it off for the time being. Oh, I was 3 notches down because the sun was going in and out, but okay. Well, one day off for 2 weeks of the original experiment, but because this was started later than the day naught, or day one, or what do you want to call it. So, I think we've got a secondary growth coming out there, not sure whether I've damaged it or not, I don't know. How to develop on this one, I don't know if you can. I'm probably going to have to turn this around to put it in the light so you can see it. What do you think of that, fellas? That, I believe, is not Cyanophyta, that's Trichoderma, I believe. Cyanophyta is the green, is the other coloured green, but that really sagey green, see the sagey green? That really sagey green, that I believe is Trichoderma. Oh, here we go, the sunlight's coming out now. Okay. So, and they go on about CPs liking Trichoderma or something and buying your Trichoderma pellets, but apparently you don't really need to buy Trichoderma pellets. All you need to do is to flood and drain your pots, I suppose, on a well, at least a 24-hour basis. Maybe do it. I think the double drain will be best done, you know, in the morning and in the evening, sort of thing. That's the best way to sort of simulate a double flush, but make it easier on yourself, less work, sort of thing. But anyway, so that's very interesting, first of all. Having said that, move on to here. I got a new growth point. I'm just protecting it from the sun, but there's a new growth coming up there, so that's interesting. This one's got, I think you can see the secondary growth now on this one. Yeah, if I can get the camera around, can you see the secondary growth coming on that one? But this one is the important one, the one with just the cellulose on top, newspaper cellulose. It's starting to fatten. If I can get this into the sun, let's move this bottle out. Let's move this into the sun a bit more. Oh, can you see there, down there? There's it's starting to fatten at the base, which is quite amazing for newspaper cellulose, you know, and sand. So it's a bit slower than this one, but I reckon it's going to fatten up more. Actually, I don't know. We'll have to see. So yeah, very interesting. So we'll keep an eye on this one. This one, it's all right there, but if you notice the sand is sort of taking off. I know, it's starting to look different now. It's not as white as it was, which is very strange. It's almost like it's going the opposite way of we like with the Albion sand. Oh, I'm talking about the Albion sand. Is the charcoal now breaking down? So does the charcoal only break down when you have Albion sand? Is that the thing? Oh yeah, I've got another one that got damaged too. Haha. Yeah. Okay. So I've got aluminium infused bran. I've got copper infused bran. I've got nickel infused bran, and I've got iron infused bran. And also I've got this one here. This is one of my CP weeds, just growing on pure charcoal. So I'm thinking, well, why don't I'm going to make up another pot now where I'm going to actually mix the newspaper cellulose 50-50 with some charcoal. So a litre of that, mix it together and just put 1 litre of the mixture on the surface of the of a bucket of sand, basically, and I'll run that. And if we get the combo between the sturdiness and the coloration of that, because they're similar, very similar, not quite the same, but very similar. Yeah. And this one's starting to go tickety-boo, I think. So yeah. Oh yeah, and this one really going off now. This one's starting to put up its 2 main shoots there, so I don't know if you can see that, so that's good. Oh, and this one, these are starting to grow now, so obviously whatever that smell is that comes out of the bottom of the pot, if you can flush it out, they start to come back. So even this dandelion is starting to go. So yeah. Okay, so it looks like copper infused bran. It's a bit like permapine post in a way, like, or CCA, but because it's not, I'm not using dangerous stuff like that. It's almost, it's like a permapine post in a way. It's very slow to, the rot down sort of thing, even with the double flushes. So, in other words, basically, I've created myself a type of peat, I believe, in a way. And maybe that's why the major micronutrient in peat is copper. And yet everyone says, CPs don't like copper. It's this internal conundrum you've got to work out. And yet, Southern Adelaide, Australia, has had the largest copper mine that's ever existed on the planet in southern Australia. So, there you go. They've got all these conundrums sort of ticking away. But I've got cyanophyta growing on this one. I don't know if you can see that. And now I'm flushing it. These dandelion seedlings are starting to go now, which is good. I've also got what looks like cyanophyta growing on the iron one. Nothing on the copper. A little bit on the nickel. So aluminium is better than iron, and iron's better in a way than nickel, and nothing's really happening cyanophytic wise on the copper impregnated ones. So we'll see how we go. And these don't even seem to be moving, it's just amazing. So it makes you wonder, does the copper in the peat come in via the pine needles? I don't know. How does the peat get the copper? That's what I want to know. If sphagnum moss is supposed to be, have nothing in it basically. Of course, there's the other eternal conundrum. If the original sphagnum plant contains no lignin, how come peat contains a lot of lignin and its cation and anion exchange capacity is proportional to its lignin content? Work that one out, fellas. So either there's been an error somewhere, or there must be something else that comes into the peat, which is where the lignin comes from. It's from another plant or something, or micro plant or something, I would have thought, or some stray contaminant that comes in on a regular basis from somewhere else. How else can you explain it? If the original, you can't create something that's not there. That's what I'm saying. If sphagnum doesn't have any lignin in it, where does the lignin come from? Big conundrum. Been saying that for quite a few years now. Anyway, well, that's about it. This is our daily update, I suppose, if we can get a daily update. But yeah, I think I really want to get rid of that pipe. It's bloody casting a shadow for at least an hour, half an hour to an hour on the plants, right in the middle of the centre. Bugger. Yeah, I think I will have to move them over there eventually. Oh, well. Okay, over and out. See ya.